Good afternoon and welcome to St Peter Mancroft. I'm Fiona Haworth, the Associate Priest, and I'm here with George Allin, who we'll be finding out a little bit more about in a moment, but you're very welcome if you're visiting the church to continue looking around. George has been with us for 2 years on our Creating Space for God programme, which is part of the National Church of England Ministry Experience Scheme. And it's been wonderful having you for the past 2 years. And so this is the kind of last opportunity we have to see you on a Wednesday, lunchtime reflection. And we're going to spend the time thinking a little bit about particularly the past year, because we did this time last year, and find out about what George has been up to this year, what he's enjoyed doing, what he'll miss, and what is going to come next. So, shall we start? What would you like to begin with?
Lots of options. I suppose at the beginning of this year was looking at putting together the application to be part of the City of Sanctuary network.
Right.
And we named a Church of Sanctuary, which we were awarded last month. So that was really, really exciting. Not a conclusion to that, because it's an ongoing work we're doing, but a step. But
to take the process from the beginning, the point of applying to be awarded City of Sanctuary church status is a nice, complete piece of work that you've done, and we're very grateful for all of the input you've done for that. So what does it mean for us to be a City of Sanctuary church?
It means that we're a church who are open to welcoming and supporting refugees, sanctuary seekers, asylum seekers in all the things they're facing, whether that's just somewhere that they're welcome to be and come, or whether that's more partial support they need, and looking further afield to other projects in the city, such as run by New Roots or the Zainab Project, and supporting them in working with people to set up new lives, or when they've been taken away from a slight moment from where their homes are, and be a part of that, because it's part of our Christian calling as welcoming and supporting everyone.
Yes. Remember, you were slaves once in Egypt, is the injunction that runs through the early parts of the scriptures. So our obligation to show hospitality to others. So heading back to sort of the beginning of the year,
yes,
we've been a bit naughty, really, because you've been so competent that we've just given you lots of things to do, and one of the real joys for me has been seeing the way you've just quietly and competently got on with doing things. And one of the big events that we gave you was the lunchtime carol service in the run-up to Christmas. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, that was wonderful, and one of those things which, if you grow up in the church, you become very used to a carol service, and so it's slightly easy to take for granted that they just happen and they run smoothly. And then you start looking at putting together the service and go, actually, there's quite a lot of elements here of making sure the readings line up, and that they're working with Jodie directing music and the choir, that they're happy that the piece of music they're doing fit within the service. And really a great opportunity to preach the Christian message of Christmas to a congregation who perhaps don't usually come into church.
And it was very full, as I recall. It was
Yes, which is exciting looking back. Wasn't so exciting when I walked out at the time.
I can imagine. But again, it's something that you did very well, really, and we're very grateful for the way you've contributed to our ministry here. And sort of building on that theme, one of the things that you have been very involved with is our range of informal services.
Yes.
So tell us about some of those.
One that particularly sticks out is one we did looking at the Desert Fathers, so the early Christians in the desert, kind of proto-monastic life, espousing all these great proverbs and wisdom, which I didn't know too much about it before, but in a wonderful way you went, well, let's do the service like this, George, and we ran with it. And that's just a wonderful opportunity to take a moment just to look at a side of Christianity and spirituality which there isn't always time to look in as much depth as we'd like to, and just that different flavour of our faith.
Yes. Yeah, and something from the first 3 or 4 centuries of Christianity really was when it began. So it's a very important part of our roots, but perhaps not one that we think about very much in the West. It's much more significant, I think, in the Eastern Orthodox tradition.
Yes. So yes, to have the opportunity to bring hopefully a small part of that to Anglican worship was very exciting.
And if you have the opportunity to Google the Desert Fathers, there are some wonderful stories and very pithy sayings that it's well worth looking at. Thinking about the informal worship, what else did we do?
Yes, well, we had a drama service, which was completely different to anything I'd done before, in a slightly scary way, but actually to work with that group and see their enthusiasm and kind of feed off that, was really wonderful again to have that different approach to including that artistic expression within worship.
Yeah. And as I recall, the drama group were very advanced planners.
Yes.
Whereas we're doing a service together on Sunday evening, and
There's a solid draft.
there's a solid draft. But you're very welcome to come if you're able to on Sunday evening, where we will be exploring taste and see that the Lord is good. And there will be a very solid service ready for Sunday evening.
And lots of things to taste.
Yes, indeed, importantly. I can't read my notes. What else have you been up to? You've been contributing to our study, so you led one of our sessions on the parables, and then you did one of our Advent studies as well.
Yes,
and which is exciting.
And I absolutely love doing the Bible studies because you can sit and read as many books as you like about it by yourself, but just sit within the church community and have the different ideas. Every time someone will come up with an interpretation which you'd never thought of.
Yeah.
And that's the real kind of Christian study at its heart. It's us learning together and growing together, as much as some of us sit up here.
Yes,
and make everyone listen.
And it's in that dialogue, I think, that lots of really fascinating insights come out.
Yes.
So
particularly with stories such as the parables, which again can seem so familiar, but to actually sit and scrutinise them under a microscope for a session.
Yeah. And the Advent study, of course, were the women mentioned in the genealogy of Jesus, and it was lovely to uncover some of those stories that are much less familiar about significant women in the story of our faith. So that was good. You've done various activities as well with, I think with Naomi, wasn't it, the children's activities?
Yes, she helped prepare for that. And yeah, that was, it's just gone down now, but a tissue flower cross for Easter Day, which was great fun. I think us adults had as much fun putting it together as the children who came in.
That's often the case with children activities.
But lovely to just have that open and very relaxed for any children walking past who otherwise may have just walked through the building, but some spent quite a long time actually making lots of flowers to take away and to add to the cross and then to share with the congregation here.
And then, of course, there was the wonderful Be a Chorister Day, which you were involved in.
Yes. Slightly more involved, yes, helping Jodie in the music department in that, and a sermon which I was told would style very well as a school assembly, talk, which I thought was the highest praise you could have for a sermon aimed at children. But yes, again, the having to think about that different audience and engaging people across all the ages, particularly when there's 20 children in front of you, was exciting to work out.
Good. And of course you did do a placement in Norwich School as well, looking at chaplaincy. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, no, that was wonderful. And interesting, the similarities and the differences in the way that as a city centre church, anyone and everyone does walk in and out through the doors, and we're here to be with them and listen and pray with them wherever they are. I suppose in a school they don't have such the choice of whether they're there or not.
Oh, yes.
And yet that ministry of being with them wherever they're at that day, that lesson, was quite similar in a nice way, even though a completely different setting. But for the chaplaincy and the chaplain there to be such a familiar part of their lives, it was really heartwarming to know that they all felt comfortable if they ever needed that support. They know exactly where they could go, and that Christian figure was there to offer spiritual and pastoral comfort.
Thank you. And of course you've been part of our welcome team here.
Yes.
How do you reflect on that?
It's again, building on that idea that we're here for people however they are when they walk through the door. The joy of being right next to the market is people really do just pop in, and whether they're intending to just have a look around the architecture sometimes or looking for that support, those conversations build by being here and being a welcoming, friendly face, and it provides that moment of connection with faith and hopefully of God, that just that piece of quiet and reflection in the middle of the day.
Yes.
Which, yes, makes it absolutely worth it when you have a quiet hour where you might not see many people, and then that one person comes in, you think, oh yes, it's really, absolutely, it was worth it being here to be with that person.
Yes. And of course, learning to give directions to the cathedral.
Oh, absolutely.
For the number of visitors we have who say, is this the cathedral? Well, how do I get there? So, and we're very happy to direct people to the cathedral. But it does make me smile when they come in and say, is this the cathedral? Oh.
Or in fact, directions to the castle, and going, actually, it's not as far as you think.
Yes. A big part of this year for you has been preparing for your selection panel.
Yes. So yes, that was back in March, I think.
Was it
Must
May?
be April, May, earlier in the year. It's all blended into one. But yes, was a 2-day panels, series of conversations with people about discerning whether to go on to training, which
for ministry.
For ministry, and so I was recommended at the end of that, and planning on starting training at college in September. But it's a very odd time, looking back, quite intense time of kind of offering all the experience here and different experiences in life, and having faith in God and those people there, that whatever they saw there, they would decide what was the right thing going forward. Which, yes, really was quite a act of letting go. And accepting, actually, I don't have control in this situation. I can just offer who I am and see what is offered at the other side. Yes. But very excited to be going on to training as a result of that,
Right.
which will be a big change, but an exciting change.
Yes. And so you're off to Cambridge
Yes.
in the September.
Sometime.
Sometime to begin your 3 years of ministerial formation.
Yes. Which is very exciting. I think particularly looking forward to living within that Christian community. And so Monday to Friday morning and evening prayer is shared in the college chapel. And I've really appreciated being part of the ministry team here. The morning prayer we share on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But to have that daily and that support of prayer as we go through what I imagine is quite a time of change for everyone.
Yeah.
Will be a real rooting in prayer and connection.
And just kind of to draw things together, what reflections would you offer us about this church and the ministry we offer?
One of the things I've appreciated most about welcoming is the full breadth of society who comes through the doors. And equally about Sunday morning congregation coming from, not exclusively, but a church where you could fairly recognise most of the people you'd see every Sunday. A congregation where there's quite a fluid of people just visiting the city or people coming in. It's been such a privilege to be able to minister to such that wide range. And so yeah, I'm excited to see Mancroft continue to open its doors to the city and reach out to different parts of the city who may not be familiar with church, whether that's through our opening, which is continuing, or potential future art projects, and that real welcoming in all the children of God, which the skills of the people here and the placement of the church is so wonderfully suited to do.
Thank you. Is there anything you'd like to add or think that we've missed out?
No, just to thank you for supporting me through these 2 years, and everyone else in this church have been so warmly welcomed and embraced. And whilst it's wonderful to hear you being very kind about the things I've done here, they've really only been possible because I've been held up by everyone's support. So yes, thank you to everyone here, and to you particularly, Fiona, for helping me.
It's been an absolute joy. And we are going to miss you. We have great hopes for the future for you. And it is a joy to see young people offering full ministry and being selected. And so we wish you well, and we hope that you will let us know how you get on.
Absolutely.
And I'll just finish with a very brief prayer. Loving God, we thank you for George, for all that he has brought to us, for this opportunity to share this time with him. We thank you for the many blessings that we have received through him and his ministry here. And we ask that you will continue to bless him richly as he goes forward into training. Be with him, guard him and guide him now and always. In Jesus' name, amen.